Good evening, everyone. I'd like to take the time to welcome everyone for joining this evening's Committee of the Whole meeting on Tuesday, October 21st. I'd like to start off by welcoming members of council, members of staff, our guests joining us this evening, members of the media, and everyone joining us virtually this evening. We will begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathering on the land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples since time immemorial. We would like to recognize that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and the land on which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. Specifically, we acknowledge the neighboring community of Mishpahot First Nation, for whom we have great respect. We also recognize the contributions of all Indigenous people, including the Métis, in shaping and strengthening the community in the province of Ontario. Thank you, Miigwech. We will now move on to item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda. 3.1, approval of the agenda. May I have someone make a motion? Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Carried. Item number 4, delegations and presentations. 4.1, Enzo Garofalo, Renewable Power Partners presentation. And I understand, Enzo, you are joined by Simon, who's joining us virtually this evening. Welcome. And I will pass the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. I've come to town and spoken with Maury, and she's welcomed me. We've talked about proposing a battery project by the Wawa Airport near the car dealership. Brought Simon here tonight. He's the owner of the battery company. He has all the ins and outs of the process and all the details behind the project. We decided to connect both of you to see if this project is suited for Wawa.
Wonderful.
So I'm happy to run everybody through the project details. Basically we've completed 71 mostly solar projects. We've got a quite sizable portfolio of development projects in downstate New York, and then in Ontario with the province has concluded that it needs quite a lot of additional both grid capacity and total energy. So there's a big procurement happening every fall and winter this year, next year, and in the years to follow. So we've been trying to distribute the projects throughout the network, which is the best for the overall costs for the network. The battery project it's basically like a water tower. Like you fill up the batteries overnight. And on the hottest days of the summer, when the grid is approaching its total capacity, there's a mission control room where the grid operators look at each of the transmission segments, so they can push a button to discharge the batteries at that time. So there aren't a ton of battery projects that have been contracted or installed in Ontario at this point. So the projects that we've completed are have been solar farms. So there's one project, the Oneida battery farm project down near London, Ontario. That's commissioned, and then there's another batch of them that are basically under construction on this build season. But the installed base is doubling every 1.8 years for batteries, because it's just the cheapest way to add capacity to the grid. So our projects, generally we're able to set them into the set them back into the trees. But in every case, we send a landscape architect around for the design of the visual screening. We're not required, there's lots of things that we don't have to do that we do just in order to uh, try to add to the property and to be neighborly. Uh, so the so a lot of the rules that are adopted in other jurisdictions were developed in downstate New York, and so we're up to our elbows, in all of those rules, and we've so we're careful to collect best practices in that regard, and yeah. uh, uh, just thinking what else there is to say. Uh, but yeah, we'd love to do a project in the municipality.
Any questions or thoughts that come up?
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you, Enzo. Are there any, I'll pass it over to Council now, and Councillor Hoffman, do you have any questions or comments for Simon or Enzo?
How do these batteries charge or recharge?
So during the year and even during days, there are different cycles and how much power is needed by the grid, and almost how power is provided. So usually there are base load reactors which provide the majority of the power, and they work day and night at the same load. And then there are peaker plants that help to take up, more power during the day, less power during the night. They help to even out flow. So the batteries help the grid by charging when there's excess energy during the evening, and then expelling them or expending the energy during the day when it's needed, especially on hot summer days when all the air conditioners are on across the province.
Are they charged from the sun or?
No, from the grid themselves. So we hook into the power grid, and then we charge during the evening, and then we give back to the grid during the day.
Oh, okay.
But only on like 40 or 45 of the days a year.
So yeah, it's basically every battery project reduces the need for natural gas peaker plants. When you run natural gas at a steady state, it's about 40% efficient, but the peaker plants are only about 25% efficient. And it's a cost-effective alternative that has no emissions.
Thank you, Simon. Councillor
questions,
O'Connell?
Jim asked my questions.
Councillor Cannon?
Thank you, Mayor. So who gets the electricity that you store through the grid? Is it for Wawa, or is it for people down south, or is it for people in the States? Like, who benefits from this?
Well, the electricity just goes straight into the local grid. So it just buttresses the local power grid, because if the network or an individual area of the network reaches its capacity limit, then when that one last person turns on the light switch, the lights go out for everybody. So if we're there and we can be dispatched to expand the capacity of the grid, then when the last person turns on the light switch, the power stays on. And it's important in the north, particularly. It's a real focus for grid planners, and that's why we're making a real focus on the planning regions, sort of Parry Sound up to the Manitoba border and north. And the reason for this is that when there's no more capacity on the power grid, the utility, the Hydro One or the local utility, there's some municipal utilities. If you have a business and you've got one line that's working great, and you want to install a second line, and let's say you need an extra megawatt of electricity, you call up the utility and say, can you pull an extra megawatt to my property line? Then if there's no capacity on the grid, then installing that extra line might cost the business $1 million, and then they could get a $20 million quote from the utility. because it requires basically replacing big infrastructure, and that gets billed to the first customer that asks for it. And now if a second guy comes, then they'll split the bill later. But I mean, the electricity upgrades can cost more than uh, it can cost more than much more than the equipment that a business is trying to operate. And when it comes to resource projects in the north, they like there's the demand for electricity is much larger than what the slack in the infrastructure. So by building in more slack in the infrastructure, not only do we improve the power quality, which reduces line losses, and we provide the battery provides a resource to help boot up a power grid after a blackout. But it's important not just for resource projects, but just for somebody who wants to, install a second rock crushing machine at their gravel quarry. So
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So who pays for this?
we do institutional financiers basically. So we're just a tenant. So for example, with the airport site, like we just need a place to put the equipment where we've got access to the appropriate to that particular power circuit. So there's a lot of paperwork involved. It's a very document intensive business. I've got a slide deck here showing some of the regulatory touch points, but so we do this monster wad of paperwork basically for each site, and then when we get the last of those documents stamped, including the building permit application and liaising with the local fire department and so forth. You guys have a chance to go through everything before we begin any installation. Then we have a construction loan. There's specialized institutional financiers for renewables projects. And then we operate as an independent power producer. So we have a contract with the independent electricity system operator. That's who buys the electricity, and then we just keep the equipment well maintained on a service contract with the manufacturer and with a big blue chip maintenance company called an O&M, operations and maintenance company, which is sort of like a property management company for renewables fleets, and sell the power.
Thank you very much, Simon. I will ask Councillor Hatfield, do you have any questions or comments?
I just have one. I remember when we were putting in solar power, it was really hard to get on the grid. So how do you get on the grid? It seems so easily.
Well, the grid planners have very conservative calculations because if you put too much on a circuit, then you'll break something. So they're very cautious about how they allocate the capacity. We're working from the grid planners capacity tables, and then if the township wants to go ahead with for example, with the airport project, then we'll start a whole process with the local utility. But in the end, the batteries add capacity to the grid. So in a sense, we have to get budgeted into the bookkeeping of who's on what line segment. But I remember, we've developed lots and lots of solar projects. So some of the circuits that were limited, during Fit 4 and Fit 5, for example, have capacity now. But yeah, but I mean, this the interconnection, like our ability to interconnect, like that's the very first thing that we're focused on.
Simon, thank you very much. I've got a few questions as well. I was really excited to see your interest in WAWA. The council, through the Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Council, has expressed our support for renewable energy projects. And we did do a community engagement project to really to really get the pulse of the community with regarding these types of projects within the last year, I would suppose. Through Quest. Through a group called Quest, and I know that through that I know that the community is very supportive of these types of projects, and I'm sure that all of the transmission projects have really positioned WAWA very well for this types of project. The east-west tie to the west, and then of course the Porcupine. I'm seeing your head nodding. It really is a good time for the municipality, as we're very strategically positioned for this type of project. So with that long introduction, I'm really interested in a few things. Certainly, local. You already mentioned you would contract to an O&M provider. Are you able to speak to whether or not that provider or that subcontractor would be interested in local training opportunities and workforce development opportunities locally to hire where possible? And then really, as I reviewed your website, very, very impressive, but specifically to your company missions and operations. Is there anything that you would do to support local energy projects that so people could get involved with maybe their own types of renewable energy projects or things like that, things of that nature?
Thank you. Yes, Sam would be just to answer that. Sam, take it away.
Yes, sorry, you weren't on screen, so so there is site work for each and then there's a fair bit of labor involved in the installation. We use local. Some of the labor ends up being local. I mean, we're certainly open to doing programming in each area. For the the operations phase involves local labor, certainly. The installation, some parts of that are always, for example, the aggregate resources is like a 1 hour driving distance type of ingredient in the overall installation. I mean, we're happy to do programming in the community. I mean, we're totally happy to do that. We do like in terms of our own projects, we do commercial and utility projects like that. That's just what we're set up for, like doing medium-sized projects in bulk. That's That that's something that we specialized in. Uh, but I mean, we're happy to do. I mean, we're happy to do programming in the community for example, um, if there's something that specific that'd be of interest, like we'd be happy to organize. I
Okay,
don't know if I answered your question adequately.
I think so. I think, well, there's certainly jumping off points. And sir, of course, when I asked the question, I had a certain project in mind. We have, as Councillor Hatfield, I think she alluded to, we have legacy solar panels on our roof that have met their end of life. So we have, there's certainly things that we would like to, we have projects that we would be interested in partnering with. On review of a quick review of the lease, like I said, I'm really interested in the project, and it's, it appears, council is as well, but I know that other councillors do have additional questions, but it is something that our community has expressed interest in through other opportunities for public engagement. Councillor Cannon, do you have a follow-up question?
Just one, thank you, Mayor. What are the risks for this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the very first generation of batteries used the same cell chemistry as is in your cell phone or laptop, and you don't think of your laptop as a hazard, but if you take the battery out of your laptop, then I mean you can easily like light it on fire with a cigarette lighter. It burns about the same way that paper does. So that very first generation of the stationary storage, because it's not an old product category. Because of that delicate cell chemistry that it used to use, and they're still used by fancy electric cars, like performance cars, and by portable electronics, these shipping container sized integrated batteries are just bristling with sensors and fire suppression equipment. But the entire industry has moved over from lithium ion to lithium iron phosphate, and there's no liquid electrolyte. The if It's very difficult to set it on fire. It is possible. It's a similar safety profile to a diesel generator, for example. Diesel's used on boats because it doesn't produce explosive vapors. But I mean, there's a fuel there, right? So it does have stored energy. So the overall safety profile of the batteries is it's like normal things that we have in our communities. Like, I've got a generator in my garage. The So with the lithium iron phosphate cell chemistry, there's no liquid electrolyte. So if you drive a bulldozer through the installation, there's nothing, there's no chemicals to leak out. There's also it's very difficult to set on fire, but if you manage to do that, then the smoke is no more toxic than wood smoke, which isn't the case for your laptop, for example. It produces hydrogen gas, which is why there's the deflagration panels and the sparkers still in these systems. And yeah, so there's no liquid electrolyte, there's nothing toxic. I mean, the transformers, like there's a safety profile for just a regular utility transformer, and the same as for the pole mount transformers that you have on the utility pole in front of your house. The transformers have an oil that you want to keep contained, and that oil will burn, especially if you run enough current through that transformer with no fuses on either side. then it'll make a fireball. So all of the equipment is separated with a really elaborate system of switchgear, which like basically like circuit breakers for big electrical equipment. So we use fancy, that equipment. I mean, like we use a fancy version of that. And the transformers, we even whether we're required to or not, we put the transformers in secondary containment. So the transformer basically sits in a bathtub. So if the oil were to get out of the transformer somehow, then it'll still be contained to keep it out of the soil. I mean, those are the main things. Like if I mean, my honest conclusion is that if you had a teenager with a jerry can of gasoline, they wouldn't be able to succeed in setting the container on fire. But if you had like a North Korean soldier with thermite, then yeah, I mean that would work. And in that case, or there's rare malfunctions. It's possible to, I mean, there have been fires in the past, just like with generators. And so in that case, you just let that one shipping container just burns itself out, and they're designed so that you can. I mean, we have more space than we need for this, but they're designed so that you can just put them back to back, and a thermite, munition going into one of them will not. I mean, they're designed to be compartmentalized at layer upon layer. So at the container layer, in the shelf layer, in the drawer layer, and in the cell layer, and it's all monitored carefully. So there's lots of there so like a cooktop is not perfectly safe, but a lot of effort and analysis and testing, engineering standards, codes have gone into making the technology something that's ready for deployment. And the institutional financiers are comfortable with it, insurance is comfortable with it, and like I'm quite comfortable with it. So, and it doesn't require any input from the fire department, honestly, other than just like keeping people out of the lot. If there's if a North Korean soldier, uses a thermite charge instead of on an artillery piece, but on one of our little batteries. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Simon, I have one additional question. IESO, they have quite rigorous policies and procedures regarding engaging with Indigenous communities. Certainly the municipality supports that wholeheartedly. Have you had any opportunity to engage with Mishpahn First Nation and other Indigenous communities within the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory?
We've done so. We've worked on we've done projects with with a First Nations partner in the past, and we've worked on First Nation site host projects. One of the colleagues and vendors that we've used in the past has done most of the they've done most of the behind the meter solar projects in the far north, and works very closely. So a couple of core members of our team work quite closely with like dozens of bands. We're required to. There isn't a First Nations consultation process for projects that are on private or municipal land, just Crown land or First Nations land. But and in the development stages, once a project becomes once a lease is signed and it becomes a project, then we have quite a consultation requirement as part of that. So the answer is we've worked with a variety of First Nations bands in the past, but projects that are on private land, there isn't a specific requirement for that. But with that said, the very first project that was built that as a battery project in Ontario is in fact on First Nations land, is part owned by a First Nation near London, Ontario.
Okay. And there's no, just to clarify, there's once you enter into a lease within the municipality, there's no consultation requirement after with IESO?
Well, we do. I mean, we have a lot of touch points, and we cast a wide net in terms of the. But there's no specific requirement for projects that are on private land or municipal land. Specifically, so we speak with the conservation authorities. We do the archaeological search. And there's there's quite a long list of this, but it's a but that's but I mean we're certainly happy to certainly happy to do so.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions, Councillor Hoffman?
How many batteries are you talking about putting on the airport site? And is there land clearing involved and who takes care of that?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so this site is rated for 40 megawatts, so it would be 80 CCAN containers.
80?
80, yeah. So they're each half megawatt for 8 hours, 4 megawatt hours.
So, and where would you be putting them on the airport?
As I understand, there's a rock formation as well as a bit of bush in that site, so we would work with that rod and clear the bush as well, so we build on top of it.
And clearing the land?
Yeah, that'd be your responsibility.
And then where is the tie-in to the grid?
I believe there's the 3-phase power line that goes between the airport and the dealership.
Okay, that sounds, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's the right tie-in, right, Simon?
Yes.
Are there any other questions or comments? It doesn't appear to be any other questions from council at this time. So I will ask Maury, what are the next steps to move forward with this subject?
I believe I'll continue to communicate with Denzo and Simon that there is a requirement, if council is in agreement, to move forward with the company submitting to the IESO this project proposal, that a resolution from municipal council be passed at the next meeting showing council support for the project. It is there's a recommended format for the resolution as provided by the Independent Electricity Association. So I would be prepared to provide council more information, more background information and recommendation regarding the lease and resolution and what your commitment to a resolution means on November 4th. I believe you could even pass that resolution, Enzo, November 18th, because your deadline to submit to IESO, I believe, is December 18th, right?
Correct.
So I could bring the report back to council on the 4th and look for resolution 4th or 18th, Mayor.
Right, so I think that that sounds reasonable timeline to bring it back for November 4th. And if council does have any other questions or wants to take the opportunity to do additional research, we have between now and November 4th. But at this point, I did not hear any overwhelming objection to the project. It sounds like everybody had great questions, so thank you very much to council, and everybody's interested in the project. And for council's interest and note, Mayor Cheryl Fort was just appointed to the IESO board. So she is somebody who we can always reach out to for to ask any questions, or it's a neighboring community mayor, which is always interesting. So, but thank you very much for your time, and for making your way here. Did you have any other additional comments or last parting words, either yourself or Simon?
I just want to say thank you for having me, and I'll leave this time to close it out. Thank you for having us. On the package that I shared with you at the front of this white one, you've got an email that you can reach out to Simon for questions, and I'll leave some business cards on the table as well for my contact information, so don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you again. I'll leave it over to Simon to close out.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to present to council. We've we're certainly detail oriented, and we have a very good track record with these projects. We've never learned something from the independent engineering service that one of the institutional financiers has brought in. All of the projects that all the projects we've been awarded, we've built, and we're determined to do a good job. So we've tried to make the agreement with the site host to just something that's very well considered and a no-brainer. So we've really tried to make sure that the site hosts are looked after, and it's a long-term relationship. So nothing delights me more than getting infrastructure into the ground and like sending checks to the site hosts. So I just wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity, and to say that we're at your disposal in case of any questions. And all of this just gives us the opportunity to put the application in, because we can't do it without the municipal support. Just like we can't build without a building permit. So
Perfect. Well, that's music to our ears, Simon, and music to our chief building officials' ears as well, I'm sure. So thank you very much, and have a great night.
Thank you. You too, Ladine. Thank you again for the pin. Appreciate it.
And when Simon comes, we'll give him a pin as well.
Oh, perfect.
A little bit of incentive. Thank you.
Thank you.
You
No,
may
I-
sign off, Simon.
I'm a recreational pilot. I would love to come.
Perfect.
See you guys.
Bye for now.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item number 5, adoption of minutes. 5.1, Committee of the Whole meeting Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. May I please have someone make a motion to approve? Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Opato. All in favor? Carried. Monthly reports. We have 4 monthly reports on the agenda for council to review. I'll now open the floor for any questions or comments from council to staff. Councillor Hoffman?
Okay, I don't know if this is you or, the signs that we put up on the highway?
That's me.
That's you. Now, I'm talking about 600 kilometers down the, okay.
Yep.
Who's responsible for keeping those clean so you can see them? Is that us or the sign guys?
It depends on the specific location, so we have subcontracts with 3 different companies for maintenance of signs. So if there's a specific location you have a concern about, please forward it to me, because then I can forward it on to the contractor who's responsible for maintaining and upkeep of those signs.
No, because I know there's a bunch, like there's that one that's down around past Sudbury somewhere, it says 600 kilometers to Wawa. And that one, when you're coming at it now, trees are starting to grow up in front of the thing.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, we're not sending a crew down there.
No. Yeah.
I'm just wondering who's supposed to keep them signs clear.
Any other questions, comments? Councillor Hatfield?
Dan, in your report, you said you were applying for funding. For what project would that be?
The water project on Algoma Street.
Oh, okay. I thought we had that. We didn't. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Penno, any
I don't have any
questions?
questions this time.
Councillor Cannon?
Thank you, Mayor.
I do it every single meeting,
That's
to
okay.
somebody.
I just have I had one for Heather, but I guess Maury could probably answer it. Did we hire a new associate?
In Heather's report, she, I believe, shared that we hired an employee. They'll start around November 13th. And I'll share the name with council as soon as we're assured that he's informed his place of employment.
Perfect, thanks. And for Alex, can you share two things with me? Can you explain the HGTV hometown makeover that you are promoting and what the public can do to promote the town to try and have our hometown makeover? And also, can you tell me your sponsors that you said in your report that you have for different programs? Can you name your sponsors and what they are sponsoring?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna name the sponsors first, if that's okay, because my computer's gonna die and I don't wanna miss any.
Perfect.
This year we put a big promotion out for in-ice sponsors in particular. It was time to replace all of our curling circles, and they're fairly expensive per circle. So we actually ended up getting sponsors for every single house, which I'm really happy about. So on the curling side of things, Canadian Tire, Chadwick Home, Wesdome, Wawa Rental, Provo and Sons, Wawa Home Hardware, and Alamos bought 2 curling circles. So that is the whole set of curling lanes taken care of by those sponsors. For the in-ice sponsors, we had a little bit of a refresh. And so for the arena ice, we had Superior Children's Center, Villeneuve Construction, Chadwick Home, and then Wesdome is in there as well from their sponsorship of the arena lights in years past. So both ice surfaces are now completely full of logos for what we've advertised so far, and so we're really happy on that support because it helps us pay for a lot of the programs that we do for youth in particular. And then we had 2 extra sponsors. So Canadian Tire once again sponsored Public Skate for the entire year. So that's Fridays as well as Sundays, and that'll be free for everybody to come out. So that was a pretty significant sponsorship from Canadian Tire. And then Owana Pamau Group, I hope I'm saying that right. They're a new local company who have done bouncy houses and things like that. And so they have sponsored, we do family skates Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 o'clock till 11 o'clock in the morning for folks to come out, especially with young kids. And they have sponsored those to be free right through until Christmas.
Perfect,
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
lots of sponsorships extra this year. And then in terms of HGTV, so we got a line from a local individual who applied on the municipality's behalf, took some initiative to go out and essentially fill out this quite large, honestly, online form for HGTV's hometown takeover. So it is an American show that they're bringing to Canada, and they're looking to essentially help communities with a variety of things, usually beautification and, specifically making main streets look nicer. And so we have entered into that contest. So how community members can help, if anybody can go out and take a video of themselves or their family or their friends or whatever it is at their favorite spot in Wawa. We're looking for a 5 to 10 second video just of you and your friends saying your favorite thing about the community. Because they've asked us for a 5 to 7 minute video of the community. And so we've targeted a couple people on Main Street in particular who've been part of the community improvement plan to do a little bit longer interviews. But we'd really like to hear from as many people as possible and stitch all of those into the video as well. So we're asking community members to help out just by recording a short video of themselves at their favorite place in Wawa, saying their favorite thing about Wawa, so we can essentially like combine all of those towards the end of the video. As well as we've asked a couple specific community members who are on the Main Street to give us a little bit more information about why they love Wawa and what they'd like to see happen in Wawa and things like that. And a couple council members are going to be asked as well, so keep your eyes on your email for that, please. The deadline is the end of this month, so we've got a fairly short turnaround time, but it seems in talking to HGTV that they're really trying to make this as organic as possible. So we have some really beautiful tourism videos of the downtown, especially when we did the CIP and the Economic Development Department did a ton of work on making some really nice production quality videos. They're specifically looking for cell phone videos, right? They want people in the community to go out with their phones and take recordings themselves so that it's a real grassroots sort of initiative. And so the more people who participate, the better. If you're looking for inspiration, my colleague down in Blind River, her name is Karen Bittner, and she runs the kind of Parks and Rec and Tourism department there. Blind River's got a great little campaign going, which was very inspirational for our campaign. And so they're gonna be tough to beat for sure, but we certainly think that Wawa can do it.
It's a great idea, and it would bring so much to, well, not only the downtown, I've seen the makeovers in the States, and they do a lot for the community, so that would be great if we could, thanks, Alex.
I have a question there.
Councillor Hoppe?
Alex, how are we getting out information? Like, I see your sign, but like, how else are we doing it? There's so many people saying, oh, I didn't know that, I didn't know that. I think, like, we have the radio station. Absolutely, we wouldn't be able to do without them. But what are the other ways we're communicating?
So typically when we have an event or something that we're promoting, we advertise through the radio station, we advertise online through Wawa News, we put things on our informational sign out front, we put things on all of the screens that we got recently in the lobby of the community center, so a lot of our posters and things go there, and then of course we put things on social media as well. So we essentially have those 5 main ways of getting information out to the community.
When you say social media, what's the site that you?
So it depends on what it is specifically. So we've got 3 social media avenues. One of them is Wawa Recreation, which is a Facebook group, and that's typically what we put community events on because that's more focused on locals. We also have Wawa Tourism, which is both on Facebook and on Instagram, but it's actually the same account in the back end, and that's where we put more of our like out of town promotional materials. So in this case, it actually went on both. Because we were interested to see, there's lots of people who follow Wawa Tourism who might not be local, they might submit a video of what they like about Wawa because they're visiting or whatever that might look like too.
Okay, I wondered how we get to people, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments, Councillor Hoffman?
Are we up to full complement now at Public Works?
Yes, we are.
They got a mechanic and,
We are our boss truck driver,
okay. Who's the mechanic?
Robert Member.
Oh, that's right, yes, has he started yet?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So seeing no other questions, we will move on to item number 7, business arising out of previous meeting. 7.1, asset management plan comments. Councillor Hoffman, do you have any questions or comments? Councillor O'Pata? Councillor Kennan?
I just think that the asset management plan, I congratulate Heather and Cindy for a it was well done.
Well done.
Oh, no, there's another word I was looking for, but it was easy to understand most of the stuff. And any other questions, I have just a couple of little questions, but I'll ask Heather when I see her. But well done.
Councillor Hatfield?
Not really. I like reading them, but I love sitting down with them and talking about the management plan. Then I understand it that much better.
That's what I wanna say, was well done. Interesting, long reading.
The only question that I had was, I really wondered, when I read the plan, I really wondered if it really portrayed the current status of our assets in a realistic light, and I was really, I guess maybe I'll leave it there and ask Maury. Specifically, I looked at two separate areas. One, the storm sewer, which I think were listed as fair or good, and the municipal building, which council has had a number of conversations on both issues, and it also was listed as fair or good. And I was wondering how we got the ratings that we did, fully knowing that I think we've had, we understand and we recognize that we have issues with those specific assets.
Thank you, Mayor, for the question, and it is a working document, as Heather and Cindy explained to council. This plan is at this point in time, but it'll always be moving. It'll never be static. The information that we have in the plan will just increase over time, hopefully to a point where what we're saying is, I could say with confidence to council, is 100% accurate in terms of the state of our infrastructure. Where we are today is the information that we have in the plan is only the information that was accessible to us at the time. So in terms of the state of our infrastructure, more often than not, we could only rely on industry standards for life cycles, meaning, based on data assembled, a normal water line made out of maybe cement, lifespan is 60 years. So that's the only factor in the asset management plan. On our sewer conditions, we can only guess based on age. But some of that data has been improved since we brought the first asset management plan to council over 5 years ago, because we've hired consultants, for example, and did our sidewalk and roadway assessments using, radar to see the actual condition. So that information went in the asset plan. We hired an expert who did building condition assessments. We got more information from the engineers and professionals that work with Alex, for example, on the arena, because the arena and all buildings are assessed not just as an arena or just as a municipal building, they're assessed as building components. So the condition assessment of this building is actually broken down. What's the condition of the roof? What's the condition of the furnace? The major components. So if I use this building as the example, we had major leaking, and so staff felt we couldn't go on anymore without doing the roof. So we actually did spend money, $200,000 a few years ago, redoing the roof. Otherwise, we might not be sitting here today. So unfortunately, in the municipal building, when you look at the outcome that the asset management plan is summarizing for you and for the public, if it looks at all the building components, some aren't in bad shape and some are actually very good. So when it does the averaging, it might come out as average to good. But I do want to speak specifically for a minute to your question. I appreciate the question around the storm sewer system. Again, if we haven't had anyone looking at the condition of those systems, we don't have extra data to put in. So Crescent Engineering is, I think, currently conducting a condition assessment of all the storm sewers entering into Wawa Lake along Broadway Avenue. And so we'll have that data once that report is done. It only takes about 6 weeks. They put in cameras down the infrastructure. They'll get a condition rating based on that. So we'll be updating that data. So I would expect and in some ways hope that data becomes more accurate, because it would lend itself to support any funding application that the municipality might make for help. So in summary, because this is a big explanation, I hope this is helping someone. The more data we have over time that gets put in and accumulated, number of breaks on a sewer line on a road, you know, the more that data is going in, then it'll be, again, much more accurate in terms of the rating. So I hope that helps explain it.
Wonderful. It helps me immensely, and I'm sure it helps
me.
It helps other members of council. As I was reading it, like other members of council said, it was a wonderful document, knowing that it's not static, that it will be continually evolving, will be helpful, and my mind always goes to how can we use this tool for DAXA's funding is good. So thank you very much for that. And if there are no other questions, we will move on to item number 8.1, next meeting date, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Item number 9, adjournment, close of meeting at 7:26 p.m. May I have someone make a motion? Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Opato. All in favor? Carried. And we'll just take a moment to move into regular council. Of course, everybody's welcome to stay, but we won't hold it against you if you take this chance. Have a good evening.
Good night.
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 We'll call this meeting to order and note the members present at 7:26 p.m. Item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 4, announcements and giving of notice. There are multiple announcements listed on the agenda. I encourage everyone to take a look. Are there any announcements that any member of council would like to make? I've got a few. I wanted to take the time to acknowledge Small Business Week. That's October 19th to October 25th. Just give a shout out to all the small businesses that are in the community that certainly really are the foundation of our community. I would be remiss if I didn't also mention that it was Local Government Week. So really it's the opportunity for the province to recognize the role that municipal governments play in shaping our communities. So hats off to certainly Maury and our entire team, but also if I could just give a pat on the back to everybody that sits around this table, all of our council members that give up all of their time to support the municipality. And lastly, I just wanted to take the time to make a note that I'm hot off coming back from the Healthy Democracy Forum that was in Toronto. I really had good intentions of bringing a written report to council today, but didn't quite make it. But I will have a written report for next council meeting. But I will share that it was a great conference.
Mayor, what exactly is it you went to?
It was called the Healthy Democracy Forum. I'm on the Healthy Democracy Project. It's a committee of AMO, and
Okay.
so it was a 2-day conference
In Toronto?
in Toronto.
Yeah.
So, and with that, we'll move to item number 5, adoption of minutes. 5.1, regular council meeting Tuesday, October 7th, 2025.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that the following minutes of the meetings of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, as contained on pages 1 to 5 inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, correspondence. There are 5 items of correspondence listed. Maury, as always, I'll ask you to highlight the important items of correspondence, sorry.
Thank you, and I just draw council's attention to item 6.4, the motion respecting automated speed enforcement, as being supported by AMO and a number of municipal organizations. Municipalities are passing supporting resolutions to this particular motion that is asking the provincial government to reconsider the use of automated speed enforcement devices, speed cameras. So there is a supporting motion under 9.1 New Businesses. Council desires to support that request to ask the province to not cancel the use of these automated speed enforcement devices. And 6.5, although added on Monday, as the matter was brought to our attention, a copy of a letter from a local resident and I would say litter volunteer for many, many years. Karen Grunt has a letter she wrote to the beer store about the bottle deposit program being canceled and nowhere in this community for someone to bring an alcoholic beverage container. There is also a supporting motion under 9.3, supporting, I think, the message that Karen, as well as many municipalities and residents in this province, are feeling some frustration and confusion around, and that is basically a motion asking the province to work with partners and municipalities and others to make sure that a similar system is put into place as was in place with the beer store, where people can find a way to bring their containers for recycling. So there's supporting motion on that. And, you know, interest, a copy of the North Superior Mears Group Highway 17 closure correspondence is on for council's information as well.
Thank you very much, Maury. Councillor Hatfield, did you have?
Yeah, you know, I know sometimes Karen can come on strong, but yesterday, she's 89 years old, picked 75 beer cans on the golf course road. Like, I'm thinking, I really, really appreciate what she does. But she was teary-eyed because all her hard work, she's worried about the environment. And I don't blame her. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Hatfield. Councillor Kennan?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add, is it possible for us to put also the resolution of the beer store closing that we had passed a couple of months ago, if we could attach that to this letter and send them both in? Thank you.
Good idea.
Councillor Hoffman?
And I just wanted to comment on that Northeast Superior Mears, but my God, did you guys ever do a major job on that report? I'm sitting there going, well, when the government sees that, I can't see how they can not say that we can't spend any money on the Thessalon to Thunder Bay corridor. It's very enlightening.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Hoffman. We put a lot of time and effort into that, and we're really exercising our letter writing muscles. It's something that is really important for our communities, and I think by working together, we're really highlighting the issue and how important it is.
You know how many jobs that would bring to this corridor if they did what you're asking?
Yeah, so I think it's really important, so thank you for highlighting that. And this is our third letter that we're sending with regards to the Highway 17. And
This was a book?
well, the socio-economic impact analysis was a book, and this is our third letter, and there will be more, and there will be additional delegations. So I hope Councillor Opato is looking forward to that. Thank you, Councillor Hoffman. Item number 7, consent agenda. 7.1, approval of the consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman, resolved that the item listed under the consent agenda, 7.2, be approved as recommended.
All in favor? Carried. Is there any questions or comments? Item number 8, staff reports memos.
Moved by Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that council does hereby receive the following committee board I was accepted into the consent agenda. Moved by Councillor Hoffman, seconded by Councillor Cannon, resolved that council does hereby receive the following staff reports memos. A, Protective Services Department KS 2025-10 September monthly report. B, Finance Department HR 2025-05 September monthly report. C, Infrastructure Services Department CHDB 2025-12 September monthly report. And D, Community Services and Tourism Department AP 2025-12 September report.
Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, new business. 9.1, a supporting motion, automated speed enforcement.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoffman. Whereas ensuring the safety of all road users, including drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, is a common priority for all municipalities and the provincial government. And whereas reducing vehicle speeds helps create calmer, safer neighborhoods and encourage people to use active forms of transportation and to be active in their communities. And whereas municipalities need a broad range of tools to improve road safety and are increasingly adopting provincially regulated automated speed enforcement programs as a proven tool, particularly in school zones and community safety zones. And whereas in Toronto, speed cameras reduced the number of speeding vehicles by 45% across 250 urban school zones, including an 88% decrease in vehicles traveling more than 20 kilometers over the speed limit. And whereas speeders, not taxpayers, pay the cost of enforcement using ASEs. And whereas the Ontario police leaders view ASE not as a revenue tool, but as a traffic safety tool with the purpose of deterrence and prevention, helping to change driver behavior and reduce collisions. And whereas by completing traditional police enforcement, ASE frees up police resources to focus on other pressing public safety priorities. And whereas the use of ASE should be a local decision taken by municipalities as an accountable elected order of government, be it resolved that the province of Ontario, through the Ministry of Transportation, commit to work collaboratively with AMO and municipalities to strengthen the ASE program. And further, that a copy of this motion be sent to Premier of Ontario, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Minister of Transportation, and to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
Questions? All in favor? Carried. 9.2, supporting motion, Local Government Week 2025.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Opato, whereas the week of October 19th to 2025 has been designated as Local Government Week in Ontario, creating an opportunity to reflect on and recognize the essential services delivered by municipal government. And whereas this week celebrates the significant impact of these services on the daily lives of residents across Ontario, and whereas municipal governments are instrumental in shaping the identity, priorities, infrastructure, and overall well-being of communities throughout Ontario, be it resolved that Council does hereby proclaim October 19th to 25th to be Local Government Week in the municipality of Wawa.
Questions? All in favor? Carried. 9.3, supporting motion, accessible and effective alcohol container return system in Ontario.
Moved by Councillor Pato, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, whereas the Government of Ontario has introduced new regulations effective January 1st, 2026, requiring grocery stores with over 4,000 square feet of retail space to accept empty alcohol containers and return deposits as a condition of maintaining their liquor licenses. And whereas many large retailers have raised concerns about this obligation due to logistical challenges that include cost, space limitations, and insufficient infrastructure to manage high volumes of return containers, and local residents in Wawa are very upset that there will be no location in the community or area accepting empty alcohol containers. Whereas this change negatively impacts vulnerable populations, including low-income individuals who may depend on bottle returns as a modest yet vital source of income, and this will increase the amount of waste being dumped at the municipal landfill. And whereas the ongoing privatization and deregulation of Ontario's previously effective bottle return program threatens to undermine decades of progress in sustainable waste management, environmental stewardship, and circular economy practices, and whereas the lack of a clear, accessible, and equitable alternative for recycling alcohol containers may place additional strain on municipal waste systems and contribute to environmental deregulation, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation Municipality Wawa supports the development of an accessible, province-wide, and publicly accountable alcohol container return system that protects low-income earners and vulnerable residents who may rely on bottle returns, closes gaps in the deposit return cycle to reduce landfill waste and environmental harm, provides adequate infrastructure, training, and support to retailers participating in the return system, ensures strong, consistent enforcement and oversight of return program compliance, and safeguards the public interest in recycling and waste diversion amid increasingly privatization pressures. And be it further resolved that Council urges the Government of Ontario to collaborate meaningfully with municipalities, retailers, environmental organizations, and experts to implement a fair, effective, and inclusive solution that ensures the long-term success of Ontario's deposit return and recycling systems. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, and all Ontario municipalities for their support and consideration.
Questions, comments?
Comment, you got a nice empty beer store, that would make a great place to bring back the empties too.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hoffman. All in favor? Carried. 10, item number 10, bylaws, 10.1, first, second, and third reading.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Pato, resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 3822-25 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on the 21st day of October 2025. Bylaw number 382325 to authorize the municipality of Wawa to enter into an agreement with the Wawa Food Bank for the lease of a portion of 96 Broadway Avenue on the lower floor. Bylaw number 3824-25 to authorize the use of alternative voting methods, internet and telephone for the 2026 school board municipal elections. Bylaw number 382525 to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen and His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Natural Resources for a grant of easement number 1162 pursuant to the Public Lands Act for lands located adjacent to the Wawa disposal site.
To the
Is
waste.
there more? Sorry. No, that was it.
10.6.
Okay. To bylaw, bylaw number 3826-25. What is it on the other side? To amend the agreement with the Automotive Materials Stewardship Inc. for a municipal hazardous or municipal automotive materials services agreement in accordance with the Resource Recovery and Circular Economy Act 2016.
Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Item number 11.1, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Item number 12, adjournment. 12.1, close of meeting.
Moved by, I need a name.
May I have somebody make a motion?
Oh,
Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hoppen.
resolved that the meeting closed at 7:44 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much for coming out tonight and all your hard work.